Welcome everyone to USF Esports. My name's Andre, joined today by Eli, and we have some Overwatch action here for you. USF Gold against NSU Demons. It's going to be a fun one, Eli. I'm really excited to cast with you. The first time, actually, both of us casting together.
You know, it is the first time for both of us casting together. I'm really excited to be here, you know.
Yeah.
USF 3-0 in this NACE Varsity League. Let's see how they can do against, you know, I'm sorry, the name's slipping my head.
NSU Demons, I believe. We'll see it in the scoreboard just a second. When we go into game, I hear it going on. I think it's Oasis, NSU Demons. There it is. And going back to what you were talking about, USF Gold 3-0 in their conference. NSU, I believe they're 1-2. USF Gold, I spoke to them prior to the game, and they were very confident. They said, hey, we have a chance of winning our whole conference. And a conference is composed of about, I don't know, like 10 teams. So, again, now, this is just another stepping stone. They have to win this game here against NSU if they want a chance to keep that undefeated record, to keep a very positive mental going into the further stages of this league.
You know, USF just having a lot of strong players recently. They have a new, you know, main support. They have Kinto, their new main support. It seems like we're getting into the action already, you know, having both Ryan and their standoff.
Yeah, and, you know, they love to take these challenges early. And it looks like Bebop already going to take out the Doomfist. There it is. The game was just really loud in my ears. A lot of action going on. But Jin actually will take out the Reinhardt, and there it is. And something about Lulu. Lulu is actually the support for this team, coming in here, replacing Commander, and playing in this kind of flex DPS role. We'll have to see how Lulu plays, but the Mei, really good pick here to start it off.
You know, Mei being a very strong, you know, flex DPS here, able to freeze people, you know, and really good with just the headshots on that alternate fire. And I really like the comp they have here for holding the point. They have a Reinhardt, you know, easy tank. Very good main tank with Dirk here. And then Bebop, you know, Diva, a very strong flex tank. And I'm really excited to see how they hold this point.
Yeah, I mean, everyone on the side of USF playing to their strengths here. Saki, usually known to be playing on that Reaper role, but Symmetra is so good for holding a point right now. You put the turrets near the main choke, it's really hard to get through, especially with this Doomfist. This Doomfist can't really do much around those turrets. Gonna have to look for an entry point out. Dirk holding it underneath. Not really something you see very often, but it's so safe. The Doomfist can't capitalize off this at all.
You know, Doomfist having a really tough time getting into those, you know, closed off areas. Seems like we have some action here.
Yeah, this Matrix is enough, actually. NSU take advantage of the positioning of USF and take the point. But again, Lulu, Kinto, and Dirk, and Saki also getting involved in the kill feed. They took the point for just a second, but USF said, no, this is our point. We're going to take it right back. Only 10% the way of NSU.
You know, USF having just a very strong hold the point team. As you said, that Symmetra is really good at keeping the Doomfist away. Seems like, you know, USF might have the upper hand in this matchup.
Yeah, and the thing with Symmetra is against double shield here that NSU's running Sigma Ryan, they're able to charge their beam a lot. Here comes the counter now from their BAP, their own app Matrix, but the freeze with the combo Diva ult is just so deadly, and just like that, a team kill on the side of USF. And they only needed 2 ults to do it.
You know, those 2 ults being very good for their ult economy. It seems like Symmetra has ult up, Lucio has ult up, but they didn't really have to waste any other ults for that fight. Mei ult being very strong in combination with Diva, you know, keeping the people in place so Diva could just blow them up.
Yeah, and now if you are USF, you are comfortable. You have the Lucio beat if you really need it. Now, if you are loyal, you're going to look for this shatter in the backline. You have some targets. You take one in Dirk. Dirk does go down, and so does Jin. Now, this fight does look very heavily in the favor of NSU, but they're using a lot of ultimates. That's the 4th one they've used this fight. Still, USF racking up the percentage, but it's no longer going to be important as they are at 99%. NSU do take the point, but they use a lot of ultimates doing so.
You know, I think NSU really had to use those ultimates to really get to the point. You know, Loyal coming in with the shatter on their Reinhardt, really taking out their main take, making it available for everyone just kind of get onto the point and start clearing up and cleaning up.
Yeah, sometimes one target with that shatter is what you need. Just that one target is enough to create an opening for your squad. Now, Solozin doesn't want to get caught out here. Those Mei icicles are very damaging, but now Kinto taking out the Sigma, and also Loyal going down. Both tanks for NSU down, and now Solozin understands that they cannot stay in this fight. They need to back up, try to wait for some sort of support. Doomfist does go in, gets a little bit of damage, but again, has to get out. No tanks right now means no one's really absorbing all that damage.
USF really being able to just capitalize on the fact that they took out the tank first. Main tanks being, a very strong holding point. Yeah, they have the Symmetra, but
and Kinto doing so much damage up here as this Lucio. Kinto actually one of the better support players in NA for that, for the matter. But right now is actually gonna take a lot of damage from that Doomfist. But again, this is anyone's fight right now. Very low is Dirk. Still staying alive though. Actually gets a charge onto Loyal. Will take him out as well. And Kinto, we're just seeing the POV of a Lucio right here. Reddit Lucio on the walls and will take out the Doom. Evades the Sigma ultimate as Sigma will take out 2. Now again, this is still anyone's fight. Bebop is trying to stay alive for so long. But again, it looks like NSU, even though they give up the point just slightly, lose both tanks, they're able to regather and come back and bring it back to USF. And now it looks like they're going to take this point back. Don't get the percentage, but again, it was looking very grim for them when they lost both tanks.
This upcoming fight, they're going to have USF is going to have a lot of ultimates up. It seems like Baptiste ult is coming up. Reinhardt ult is coming up, as well as Symmetro. So hopefully they can take the point back. Seems like Saki switched to Cassidy over here.
Well, we also saw Loyal switch over to the ball, trying to get back to the point. So there isn't really anything to block. Unless Joke can get a great block onto the Dirk Reinhardt Shatter. Oh, and barely staying alive, but actually going to get booped off. Maybe they stayed alive with the grapple. But they need to be in this fight right now. Jin taken out early. Not a lot of heals for USF. But Jin is going to have to keep Kinto rather, is going to have to try to keep everyone alive. That main wall is huge, isolating the Sigma for the rest of their team. And everyone from NSU falling slowly but surely. Now the Tracer trying to just stall for a little bit longer. The Tracer post-bomb actually does take out Dirk, and another one from one. Maybe just enough for what they need for their team to come back.
Seems like, NSU is really just making it awkward spot timers for USF. So they have, they have to wait to really, regroup, and it's allowing NSU to get a lot of percent. But again, USF just contesting this point, keeping this game going.
Saki gets a double, and one is still here. Someone needs to take care of this Tracer. There it is. Does go down, and this Diva Bomb going down to the back line. No one stepping on point, and USF will take round 1.
That game was really just back and forth in between USF and seems like Cassidy got the 2 kills right there.
Yeah.
Between USF and NSU, but USF ultimately coming out on top for that game.
Yeah, and it really did show us a lot about NSU. Going down, they're down 99% to it was around 16, losing both tanks, and their ability, the supports, to stay alive, back out of the fight, kind of stall for a little bit with their DPS and wait for those tanks to come back in and recontest and win that fight. At the end of it, their ability to kind of disengage and re-engage, very, very strong to start off this series. I'd like to see how that develops. Maybe they can get an early start here, but look at this composition we have from USF Gold, a completely different look. The somber Tracer, and with a little bit of actually just a whole dive look here from USF, and a little bit kind of dive from NSU there with the Sigma.
Dive being a tried and true comp for Overwatch, really just being one of the big strengths.
Oh, Loyal.
And Winston.
Yeah, and Loyal just wasn't expecting the amount of heat that USF brought. Dirk getting Bunny as well. And with that, it just really does seem like USF are going to be able to take the first point. Wet Puddle does take Lulu there at the very end of that. But again, USF just with great first fight there with their dive comp.
The jump pad on Oasis really being just a really good way to, surprisingly engage on people, especially in a dive comp with Winston's jump and Diva's fly.
Yeah, something that I did a lot as a Winston main was, you want to take advantage of the high ground. Save that jump if you can. Jump down and use that jump ability as a disengage here. When you have no jump and you are hacked, especially against a Sombra like this, you have no way out. It's really hard to keep a Winston alive when he's so beefy.
This fight here, being engaged by both Winstons.
Yeah, and Lulu just trying to get any sort of damage. And again, the Winston's in, but the Winston uses their jump ability to get into the fight. There's no way they can get out of it. And Bebop, it just seems like every time they get a Diva Bomb off, they're getting at least 1 kill on the board.
Loyal having a really tough time dealing with just the amount of damage USF can put out.
Yeah, and Lulu now coming back from spawn. Again, USF early kind of establishing the tempo of this series, of this match, as they have the early 52%, and they are not stopping here. They're trying to get as deep into the spawn and try to stagger as many as they can to establish any, try to increase that percentage, essentially. And now you look at the ult percentage. Almost everyone from the side, except for maybe Bebop and Jin on USF, are going to have ultimates for this next fight.
You know, USF having great ult economy. Maybe they don't have the Moira ult for this fight, but they will have the Lucio, Tracer, and Sombra ult being very pivotal ults. Even the Winston ult coming up soon. You know, Loyal just having a tough time keeping up with that, with the rest of the team.
Yeah, Loyal does go up, and I wouldn't be surprised if I see them get punished. Loyal does drop back, uses the shield as protection. But here's the big hack, and it does hit 5 members of NSU. And at this level, if you have 5 players that cannot use any abilities, I mean, Loyal there had the primal, can't use it because he's hacked.
You know, Sombra being a very good character to just keep those engages from happening on the enemy team. With the Sombra hack, just absolutely, you know, destroying the team. And it seems like USF takes this map.
And with that, I mean, again, the cycling of ults is, I think, what really showed USF's ability here. Bebop here is going to get the play of the game. And as I said, every time Bebop threw out that bomb, it seemed like it was going to get at least one. In this situation, partnered there with the Mei ult. This is so tough, though, because when you see that Mei ult go down, you're trying to back up. You're trying to get out of it. But if you try to back up, you're going to get killed by the Diva Bomb. So it's kind of a, you know, which one would you rather, pick your poison situation. But either way, you're going to die, and USF's going to take this round.
And another part of that Diva ult was the fact that the Reinhardt was soloed out from the rest of the team. You know, no one being able to get behind the Rein shield, giving it a very tough time for NSU to survive that.
Yeah, again, you know, great showing from USF and NSU in the first game. Best of 5, though, so we will at least have 2 more matches for you here. We'll be bringing you Map 2 in just a moment. Stay tuned. Welcome, everyone, back to round 2, or I guess this is round 4, week 4, map 2 here between USF and NSU Demons. First map went the way of USF, and now NSU are going to have to respond here on, I believe it was Blizzard World. We'll see in just a second. I think that's what I heard in my ears as we get this map getting started, honestly. But we just talked about this in intermission. USF, their dive looking very, very solid so far.
Yeah, USF playing a very action-packed game, you know. Yeah. Just being able to keep the pressure on to NSU, and NSU having a hard time responding to it.
Yeah, they seem to try to run sort of a dive themselves there on the last map, but not really working out in their favor. Now, coming into Blizzard World, maybe an opportunity to run something a little different. We do see Loyal back on that Reinhardt, as we saw in the first map. Wet Puddle seems to like this Doomfist Jock again on the Sigma, so not really anything too different. The Sombra is something new from 1, even though they were doing very well on the Tracer there on University. But now a little bit of a different look from USF. Dirk on the Orisa, Bebop on the Signature Diva, but Lulu on the Ashe and Saki on the Torb. Torb is one of my least favorite characters in the sense of they are really good, but not a lot of people play him. That turret does a lot of damage if you don't really tend to it.
You know, USF is going for more of a bunker comp, so the Torb is going to have actually a lot of impact. And I just want to mention that Kinto is on their signature champion as well. You know, playing Brig here. Yeah, I'm really hoping to see how USF plays this bunker comp against NSU.
Yeah, and something kind of note about this USF gold team is Kinto is their new support. New to this team, and usually this team always had subs coming in and out. And they picked up Kinto, and now this is their solid 6. With Commander usually in, Lulu subbing in for Commander, and they like how they play. They like the solid 6 that they do have, bringing in Lulu occasionally. But this is the team that they feel comfortable with. Now, Doomfist coming in does get really, really, really weak. Maybe even close to 1 health there. But that's what Doomfist wants to do. They want to come in, get a quick pick, and disengage.
Doomfist being really good on this map. You know, having a lot of open spaces, just being able to just play around the enemy team. And it seems like USF still contesting this point, but Doomfist, you know, taking over that wide space.
Yeah, and Doom just needs a little bit of space. You see on the side of USF, you don't really have much stun except for Kinto. If you can jump onto Lulu, yes, they can use their coach gun to try to separate yourself from the Doom, but sometimes it's going to be a little too late. Doomfist can do so much damage in such a small period of time. And now Wet Puddle already at 76 ult percentage. But, I mean, looking at the ult percentages here, no one from USF really that close except for Dirk. But on the side of NSU, you're going to be close to an EMP, you're going to be close to a Shatter, you're going to have a Lucio beat and a Doomfist ult. So a lot of ults here, but Loyal going down early here.
You know, it seems like USF is just wiping the enemy team right now, being able to play this bunker comp really effectively. And about the stuns, you know, Saki switching to McCree, having that close range. I'm sorry, Cassidy.
Yeah.
Switching, you know, having those close range stuns.
Yeah, and not only is it good for the Doomfist, but it's just, I think having a stun like Cass is really good in this composition, just to make sure, you know, you don't get caught out from the Doom, or, you know, if the Sombra is behind you and harassing your backline, you can stun her and make sure she gets punished in that situation. But now this is going to be the battle for the high ground here on Blizzard World Point 2. You want to make sure you don't give up this high ground for free.
Seems like, you know, Bebop getting another kill with the D.Va ultimate, but a lot of spacing being just taken up by that Doomfist.
Yeah, and again, you know, the Doomfist does get 2, but does get punished. And now, USF, they're still holding this high ground, and you actually see Wet Puddle off the Doomfist onto, not even Cass, onto the Soldier.
You know, Loyal and Bunny having their ults up, but, you know, not being really able to do anything since there's not a massive team fight. It just seems like pick after pick, staggering those, you know, spawn timers.
Yeah, and I don't know about this swap from one onto the Tracer. Yes, Tracer is really good in this situation. Actually, here we go, back onto the Hanzo. I just don't think with this composition, Tracer's going to get you too much. You can't really get into the backline. Everyone's right there in this bunker. Hanzo a lot better, can break down those shields a lot faster along with the Soldier 76. And now they're going to try to engage here, going maybe through the left side here.
You know, USF having a couple ults up, maybe they'll have a large edge in this team fight.
Yeah, and I think just with this bongo, as I like to call it, this should be enough to win the fight in itself, just with the extra damage on everyone there. If you're NSU, I would be starting to back up, but it seems like a little too late here as Saki is just clicking on him.
You know, Orisa having a really strong ult. As you said, that damage amp being very good for the team, just making it so no one else really has to use their ults, especially in that tight situation.
And again, it comes back to cycling your ults. Since Dirk's the only one that used their ult, you have 4 now, and Bebop used the D.Va ult last fight, so it just seems like every fight they're winning and they're only using 1 ult. On the side of NSU, they use the beat, and, you know, Hanzo and the Soldier having to build ultimates now because they switched late.
It seems like Rhino just lands the shatter on the team, being able to just wipe, you know, USF right there with that shatter.
And that was a beefy shatter. It got, I don't even know how many, but it seemed like almost all of USF. But again, you know, most of them died, but you still have the Ashe and the D.Va kind of holding point here. Bebop's getting really close to his D.Va bomb, and we know what he could do with the D.Va bomb, but Saki coming back on that cast. And I need to get me a little bit of Saki here. You need to give me Saki POV, because it just seems like he's not missing.
Saki's just very good on the Cassidy, being able to just hit those shots, you know, hit the stuns. It seems like Saki's very comfortable with it.
Yeah, and, you know, in the world of Overwatch, a lot of people have been saying Cassidy's dead. Cassidy, he's not good anymore. It just doesn't have the damage output as a lot of other DPS members. But if you can click heads, Cass could be a very, very strong character. And now actually almost goes down to a Hanzo era, I believe. And again, really, really low, but you know, if you're Jin and Kinto, you see Saki there, you know, it's no problem. And actually, very interesting, we see Loyal on the Hog here.
You know, Saki just getting knocked up, but being able to use that to the advantage, getting a nice, you know, high noon right there.
Yeah. Yeah, great high noon with the kind of, it's interesting because it's almost like Saki said, oh, you're gonna, you know, ult me? It's okay, I'm gonna use my ult, and I'm fine with it because Jin's gonna have the Immor right beneath me, and I'm gonna be fine. And it just seems like the last 3 minutes or so, it's all been dictated by high ground, and USF's been holding it this whole time.
USF's holding that high ground, being very good for the Orisa balls, you know, being able to have people gravitate towards that. And then Bebop taking a very aggressive stance against the enemy team.
Yeah, very dangerous, to be honest, because they have a Hog, and Hog is very good at punishing bad positioning. If you're positioned somewhere where you're not supposed to, you're going to get hooked. And now this ultimate actually from Soldier is going to pick off Lulu. Everyone else is going to just hide into cover until the ult is ended. And now Roadhog pushed up a little too aggressively, gets stunned out of his heal. And now no Hog here, only the Sigma on the tank. Look at Saki looking for a cheeky flank. Does get 1 headshot on the Soldier. It will finish him off. And now, oh my goodness, taking out the Mercy. The high noon's here, waiting for the Sigma ability to end. And just like that, USF look like they're going to hold here on second point on Blizzard World.
But, you know, that Wrecking Ball being able to contest very well. But, you know, NSU being very good at getting picks, but USF just being insanely good in team fights.
Yeah, and that is something that makes a good team a great team, is when you can go down members, be down, you know, 6-4, 6-3, disengage for a second, let your players come back, and then take on that fight. A lot of the times, what you'll see from kind of lower skill players is their teammates will die, and you'll see them try to make a hero play, trying to get a 3K or something. Most of the time, it's not going to work out for you. You got to wait for your teammates to come back and take a fight that you know you can win, or give yourself a chance. And I think that's what USF did here on this second point with that high ground control. And now they have to get it to right there where you see that card is, where NSU was able to push. Now USF have the task to push it there to win this second map. NSU, though, they have the ability to hold them here on first point. We'll see what kind of comp they run.
You know, NSU going again with the Doomfist wet pedal seems very comfortable on that champion. But Saki, again, with the Cassidy, definitely showing comfort picks are a strong pick, even if someone's better.
Yeah, you know, we said Saki's main was Reaper, and there's a notion that Reaper players don't have the best aim because, you know, it's just a big kind of bloom for a Reaper. But, I mean, Saki just clicking heads here with the cast. Does switch over to the Sombra. We'll see if that sticks. But let's talk about Jin real quick. Jin is, what I've been told, top 30 NA as a healer. And Zenyatta is their main. So this might be a treat here for us on this Zen. But again, something else I noticed here is it's interesting when you see DPS duos kind of switch off what they play. You know, we had Wet Pedal switch from the Doom to the Soldier, and now we see one going from the Tracer to the Soldier. So we'll have to see how that kind of plays into how they run into this first point, or defend this first point, rather.
I think, you know, Doomfist is very good for this first point because there is a lot of wide open space. But Jin on the Zenyatta here is going to have a lot of impact as well, being able to get Discord orbs and healing orbs just out on everyone.
Yeah, and Bebop actually gets the FAP early. Mercy does have to burn the res, but Saki trying to look for a flank, and there goes the Doom you were just talking about, being able to take Kinto out and disengage. That's all you really need to do as a Doomfist. Go in, get that just burst of damage onto a singular target, and then get out. You don't have to stay in that long because that's not really his purpose. His purpose is to get in, get out. And just like he did there with Bebop as well, USF has to reset.
USF just having a hard time being able to get onto the point. Like, as mentioned earlier, that Doomfist just having kind of free reign of everyone. And Loyal on the Orisa. Orisa's very good at, you know, holding choke points, holding areas where normally people can get through, but Orisa just having the strength to keep him from going there.
Yeah, and you see here Loyal's just pre-firing every corner, trying to find this hiding Sombra, but Saki knows better. Is going to try to stay hidden a little longer. There is Bebop with the pile driver on the high ground. Does get a couple low, but again, with the healers up there, it's not going to be that much of an issue. That's where, you know, going back to that Doomfist, it would be nice to have like a Doomfist ball combo here for USF. But there goes the Doomfist ultimate. Sigma does get hacked, actually. There are the mines from the ball, and this is where you want to engage if you are USF. But with Jin going down, that's a lot of damage, a lot of heals gone. Saki does get the hack onto the Mercy. Can they finish her? Doesn't seem like it. Mercy's still really low, but look at the bunker here, Eli. Just so much. They're just sticking so close to each other.
Yeah, Orisa being very good with that, you know, kind of
semi-circular EMP here might do. Oh, but Lulu gets the 3K with the pulse bomb.
You know, Luluki being very good. Normally plays support for USF, but being put in as flex DPS is really showing that they can play kind of just any role.
And what I love about it is sometimes when you play support as your main, you sometimes going to understand how other supports play a little more. You have a little more insight on how they're going to play. So when it comes to plays like post bomb placement and just positioning, you know kind of where they're going to be situated. But there, the thing about playing a bunker comp is everyone's so close knit. But, you know, when you have a pulse bomb in the middle of everyone, it's going to do a lot of damage. And you see the 3K there from Lulu. But we will get a pause here from one of these teams. Not sure quite happened. Oh, okay, we had a DC here. But again, just looking at this screen right now, I think Saki's coming out of invisibility, but you can kind of see what's going to go on here. Saki has that EMP, not going to allow NSU to establish any high ground possession because they know that if they do, they can kind of do what they did to NSU in turn, you know, when USF held that high ground. But Saki's going to try to use this EMP to just shut it down immediately.
You know, Sombra being very good at getting stealth, getting information, but also the positioning for Saki is actually very good. Being able to, you know, get back onto that high ground, as you said, get behind those shields without the enemy team really noticing. The EMP is going to be very good for the, you know, this next engage. Definitely having, you know, Saki being a main player in this upcoming team fight.
Yeah, and that's something about a Sombra. If you can get value from Sombra through the hacks, you know, through just pressure in the backline usually. If you can do that, then the EMPs will get built quick, and you can create pressure where your teammates can come in and kind of play around that pressure. And then the EMP is technically, that should be a win, a fight win there in itself. If you have a good amount of players on the other team with no abilities, that's kind of your team's cue to let's go. Let's dive on them. Let's get as much damage on as possible. Because without abilities at this level, it's really an advantage for the team that has the EMP.
USF having very good ult econ as well. So when Sombra does get that EMP out, USF's just going to be able to wipe, you know, NSU and keep them from doing anything. Sombra keeping a back positioning as well as Wrecking Ball, you know?
Yeah. And everyone
looking for the dive.
Everyone here is waiting for the call. There it is from Saki. Does get 3. And listen, will get 1 support here. Actually, no. Doofus will go down, but 1 will use the attack visor. Gets very low. And there's a hack onto the soldier. That's all they really needed. Get that soldier out of the equation. Will get res, but Mercy goes down quick. The Sigma will use their ult. Still up in the air, does get hacked, and that's the danger you're running. If you're going to let the Sigma up in the air, make sure the Sombra is nowhere near sight. But they were there, and now it seems like NSU are not going to have anyone to contest this point, and USF will take round 2 here on Blizzard World.
Yeah, USF being, again, very good in those team fights, having everyone just being in position, ready, and their ult econ, you know, just keeping the fight from really ever going to anyone else's side.
Yeah, and again, Saki doing so much for his team. We actually saw this one ourselves. Gets a great headshot on the soldier, finishes him off, gets the Mercy as well in Valkyrie, and just to seal it off here, gets this Sig, and that is what stopped NSU's offense. But again, going back to that 3K pulse bomb from Lulu, kind of opening it up on that first point, because it seemed like NSU really had it there. We're going to hold USF on that first point for that team fight at least, but Lulu opening it up with the pulse bomb, and, you know, that's the sub for this team. That is the main heals that used to be for this team, now coming in and bringing their team a little bit of that, hey, you know, you remember me? I'm coming in here and I'm going to help y'all get this win here against NSU.
You know, Lulu, like, again, showing prowess on not only positioning because of support, but just being able to play flex DPS as anyone else can. Maybe even better than some people.
Yeah, I mean, for them to put that much trust in Lulu to come in and say, hey, we know you play support, but we're going to bring you on as a flex DPS. A role that, you know, can be what breaks or make a team. To have that much trust in a player really does say a lot about the mentality and kind of what the culture of this team. But with that said, round 2 over, USF winning the series 2-0. We'll be going to round 3 in just a moment, so stick with us. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone, to round 3. Well, I keep saying that. This is week 4 of the NACE Starleague Varsity. I'm Andre, joined here with Eli. And we are headed into map 3 between USF Gold and NSU Demons. USF lead the series 2-0, and now NSU with the map pick onto Havana. Nice escort map. This is actually one of the newer maps of the game. I'm a fan of it. You know, I get it. I don't complain. It's not like Paris. I don't like Paris. This is something I've said very, very often. But Havana, a really nice map here. Maybe what NSU need to turn this series around. You know,
NSU really needs to just kind of not necessarily like outskill them, but they need to outplay, you know, have better positioning, because it's obvious that USF just knows their positioning and knows how to really take over the map. But let's see what NSU can do in this match.
Yeah, again, you know, whenever you do lose a map, you have map pick for the next map. So maybe they have something on Havana that they've practiced. Maybe they have a strategy they like to run. Again, I would say that now, but the same thing for the last map. NSU had the pick on Blizzard World, but we saw how that ended. So we'll have to see what NSU could bring out here and how USF responded. It looks like USF, they want to play this cheeky little close defense. I don't think NSU know. And there it is. Dirk's going to try to hold this close. NSU trying to play around it. We'll have to see what happens here. Usually this is really good for one team and not the other.
You know, USF taking that immediate pressure off of NSU is really just showing that they have an answer for a lot of things NSU can throw at them.
Yeah, and now this is very tough here if you are USF. You lose your main source of healings in Jin. You don't have that BAP. You still have a Lucio, but it seems like they're able to play around kind of the artifacts of the map and make sure you don't get too overwhelmed with the damage. Now, it looks like they will be backing up in need of some heals, but now with 3 members of USF falling, make that 4. they're going to have to back up a lot further. But, you know, they can afford to give up this first fight simply because they're actually going to stagger Saki a bit. Because, you know, usually you only have one fight on this first street phase and that's it. Playing up near that gas station allows your team not to have one but two fights here. But the only thing you sacrifice is actually the high ground. And it is something that NSU will take advantage of here.
You know, USF sacrificing that high ground, making that, you know, nice decision to just take the other fight. But let's see what they can do here in this chokehold.
Oh, Loyal does go down, but so does Lulu. Both tanks now for NSU going down. We saw what they did on Oasis with no tanks. They were able to regroup. But again, they're on offense this time, and the spawn doors are a lot closer. So maybe just disengage for a bit, wait for them to come back. But now USF with the high ground.
Yeah, as you said, them getting those two fights in, now going for a third, just seeming like USF wanting that high ground and taking it away from NSU. I'm having a really, you know, fun time watching this.
Yeah, oh, and Lulu taking out Wet Puddle. That's a lot of DPS gone from that fight. But here's Saki with the high noon in front of the Matrix, and everyone's just hitting Q now. The Junkrat tire just rolling around, doesn't get anyone. Loyal with the Shatter doesn't get anyone, and kind of just charges by Saki. Saki will go down, though. Loyal is 1 health, but 1 with the Junkrat nades. And it just seems so hectic right now with everyone going down, but I think NSU is going to come ahead in this fight.
NSU really used that Junkrat ult to, you know, not only zone off everyone, but, you know, keep everyone into and group them into the Shatter that came out from the Ryan. And seems like they get the first checkpoint.
Ooh, and 1 falling dangerously low. And, you know, the Junkrat tire, when you hear it go off, when you hear that voice line from Junkrat, you kind of get in a panic. You're thinking, oh, I need to get away from this. I can't die to this. And because of that, you have so much attention paid on that the Shatter from Loyal was kind of free. You know, no one was really thinking about that, which kind of opened up that team fight for NSU. But now, again, this is the fight, a game of high ground. Can USF hold this high ground, or will NSU take it away from them?
USF, you know, able to hold that high ground and just answer every single one of these fights back with a 1 fight. You know, I'm really liking this back and forth between the two teams.
And I love this pressure from Lulu. You know, something that I notice a lot of good Hanzos do is they don't rush their shots. They'll take their time. They make sure they get a shot on target. And that's something that we see Lulu doing here in this fight. And now going into the ultimates, I'll let you break it down because ult economy is looking kind of healthy. We're kind of in the between for both teams.
It's very in between for both teams. You know, the Cassidy ult coming up soon, and Dirk having the ult up ready for this team fight. You know, patience being a virtue for this Hanzo.
Oh, and look at this. Bebop is there, though. Reads the play from the soldier. Lulu falls low, and Wet Puddle does go down. But so does the rest of their team. The Zen gets jumped on. The Baptiste is still here. Will get booped back. But again, that was a play from NSU. Everyone went up the stairs, left the soldier low ground to use that visor, but Bebop was having none of it. The Diva was there in his face, matrixes almost all of it, and takes out the soldier.
USF and NSU, neither side using any of their ults, you know, just kind of holding that choke point and using their agents as the shields.
Yeah, and now NSU again, they're going to try to take this high ground. Dirk does have the Shatter. There's the Matrix and does take a lot of damage off of Dirk. The Amp Matrix coming in time to keep everyone alive, but blocks Shatter on the side of NSU, but it doesn't seem like it's going to matter too much. The Lucio ult actually committed a bit late here. Oh, but Dirk gets pinned, and it doesn't seem like he's going to be able to get saved from that one.
Taking Dirk out of that team fight, especially while his Shatter was up, is really good on the side of NSU. You know, being able to just keep them from wiping their team.
Yeah, and Bebop and Lulu gonna try to not get staggered, jump on the payload, and force them to have to take you out. And now it seems like NSU, you know, they didn't get far on the first map on Oasis. They didn't get a single, round. Second map, they took it through second phase and got halted. But it seems like here they have 1:30 healthy time, and they have good positioning to force this into third phase here on Havana.
USF kind of having to just charge those choke points to be able to break through whatever, you know, NSU is holding at them.
Oh, and look at this. The soldier was on the high ground, not hitting enough from the high noon. But here's the Sigma. Does get stunned, though. And that's huge. If you are USF, you take a lot of that damage away from that Sig. But this Bob, he's in the doorway with some of the USF members. Look at this Bap just trying to move payload by himself. Great evasive maneuvers from the Baptiste, not letting Saki get any kind of damage onto him. And the soldier on the side of NSU doing a lot of damage here with this visor.
You know, USF having very good ult economy, you know, not using every ult in each fight, maybe one or two, but essentially using them in combo with each other. Baptiste and McCree and Cassidy ult coming out that last fight. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, again, you really do have your win condition if you are USF. You have your dragons, you have your shatter, you're gonna have high noon, you have Lucio beat. You have a lot to work with, and they're gonna use the Hanzo dragons early, and I love this. They get booped into it. The Immort comes out early. The Immort's already dead, and now you don't really have anyone really close to the payload. The beat does drop the shatter as well, and just so much damage coming out on the side of USF. NSU's not gonna have anything to answer back. The Matrix used, but a little too late.
USF really, again, showing that holding the ults can help a lot in each team fight.
Yeah, and something I love as well is you have the ultimates. You know, you see them starting to come up that stairs. You don't have to hold them for too long. If you start holding them, you allow for them to get picks on you, and then you have to play a man down. Use those ultimates early. You see the dragons being used early to kind of zone them away. You see the Lucio boop them into it too, which is a nice little play in itself. But then, you know, they didn't get any picks. Hey, you still have the shatter. You have that beat. Push onto them. Don't let them get any sort of momentum going towards your payload, because if they touch the payload, then overtime gets triggered, and then they have a chance of, you know, extending this game, which is not something USF wants to entertain here.
USF showing that communication is really key. You know, being able to, as you said, just combo those ults together with the Lucio boop into the Hanzo ult. It's very, very strong, their communication, and essentially keeping up that pressure as well, because NSU just has to make sure that USF can't combo.
Yeah, and it's hard if you are NSU, because this USF squad, at least I could say for Saki, Dirk, Bebop, they are the core. They've been playing on this team since its inception, really. Bringing on the talent of Kinto, Jin, Lulu was a later addition, and also Commander actually was also part of that core. So they have chemistry, and it seemed like every player they brought on has brought a little bit of that spice to this team, a little bit of some talent to this team. And now we see NSU running a little bit of what USF ran in this close hold here on Gas Station.
Yeah, USF having worked on their teamwork quite a lot in their most recent, you know, coming months. Since last semester, USF has really shown that they can keep up, and they will keep up.
And look at this. They're going to try to wait it out here. Do notice that NSU, they're running a pharmacy. So we'll have to see what USF Gold can do here to try to counter it. You have the hit scan in Jin and Saki, and you also have Bebop on the Diva, so maybe try to isolate them. And Saki does take out one. Will probably get resurrected here unless they can push onto them. The Mercy going down as a result, and that is what you like to see when you play against a pharmacy.
You know, Pharmacy being very good on this map, but Saki being able to just answer that directly with a takeout.
Yeah, and it's so hard for a singular hit scan to take out a pharmacy, because if you hit a Pharah, you're going to have to hit at least 2 headshots in a row from close distance as a cast to try to take them out, because if not, they're going to get healed up. And you see NSU already abandoning the idea of that pharmacy, switching over to a Lucio Hanzo.
Lucio Hanzo still being a very solid combination, but Sigma takes out that Lucio.
And that stings a lot, because the Lucio just switched, and they're first to die. We see Saki with a 5-player kill streak, but when you switch over to Lucio and you're first to die, you generate no ult charge, and you fall so far behind. You see Jin already with the Matrix being used this fight. Kinto 90% to their ultimate, and now Bunny switching over to a Moira now.
Bunny just kind of keeping the constant switch up.
This hurts if you are NSU. You're already staggering here. Wet Puddle dies late. And if you're USF, there's no reason to stop here. That Matrix might be a reason in itself with your main tank going down, but I like that Matrix from Solas, and you're slowing down USF's momentum, stopping them and saying, hey, no, we're going to allow our teammates to come back and kind of keep you at bay so we can fight this 6v6 again.
I really like USF just keeping up that pressure, you know, staggering each and every single one of NSU. NSU having to regroup consistently, but, you know, being unable to because of the amount of pressure that USF is putting up on them.
Yeah, and now the ultimates are going to come in this fight. Lulu uses the dragons. They know the soldier is here by themselves, but Lulu's going to get 2. Not just 2, but the tanks of this squad will try to get healed up here. But again, when you have just everyone running around without their tanks, and you have a Hanzo like Lulu, It's going to be a very tough task. And you see this. They're backing up. They have to try to re-engage with their tanks. And if you're USF, you don't want to have any of it. You're going to try to take him out here because this payload does not have much more to go. You do see the ball here trying to stall this out, though, Eli.
Discord Orb from the Zenyatta being very strong, especially melting tanks. Cassidy getting another kill on the High Noon.
Oh, but Wet Puddle does take out one. Maybe what they need is try to mount this comeback. One gets stunned, does get the blink off, but again, not enough as USF. They're going to take this series against NSU 3-0.
USF really just showing that they're here. They showed up and they showed out, having their skill, being able to back up how they play, keeping consistent pressure, making sure NSU can't really do anything.
Yeah, and we're going to see a play of the game here from Dirk the Turk. And this goes back to that play we were talking about. Use those ultimates. You see that the other team is at a disadvantage. They use the Zen ult, and I mean, that Shatter is massive. He does get stunned, but look at the Fire Strike taking out too. And you could just see him charging forward there as the USF Gold charge on to 4-0 in the NACE Starleague Varsity. But, you know, there's so much more Overwatch to come. Every week on Monday, we will have this USF Gold and Green team on Showcase in this league, and we wish both teams the best of luck going forward. GG's to NSU as they go down to 1-3. Again, a super solid team when you look at it. They played good fights. It's just USF, they played a little better today.
USF really just kind of outplaying them with their positioning and their communication skills. But honestly, I'm very excited to see what's upcoming for USF, to see how they continue in this conference.
Yeah, I'd love to see USF play against, you know, when they do get down the road again, when the going gets a bit tougher and you play against these more difficult teams, how they can adapt to those tougher teams. Because, you know, there's a lot of 3-0 teams. Well, now 4-0 teams in this league since it's divided into so many different conferences. So when you get down to the later stages, I want to see how they play against, you know, the top teams in this league. Because, you know, this is the highest league in NACE. This is the top of the top here in this league. So for them to be 4-0 and playing the way they are, a lot of good things to come for this Overwatch squad.
Definitely. You know, USF Gold showing that practice does make perfect. Them showing up. You know, last time they weren't really one of the best, but now USF going on a 4-0 streak.
Yeah.
It's almost unprecedented.
I love the progression throughout, you know, when this team started to now. When they started, you know, they never played with each other. They never had spoken even. They kind of just made a team. And it was kind of shaky at first, but then they were kind of building those blocks. And now it's been, I think, around 2 years now of this core with some add-ons, and they're looking better than ever. And I think that's going to be it for us here on USF Esports. Thank you so much for hanging with us here as they do improve their record to 4-0. But my name's Andre, joined today by Eli. Thank you again for watching, and have a great evening.
Happy Valentine's Day.
And happy Valentine's Day.